Hello, everyone. It's me, Aridos.com Rashid. I'm an anthropologist and sociologist. Hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel. Don't forget, donate the links below. Thank you very much. And also check my novels on Amazon. Thank you. All right. Thank you all for being here. It's early in the morning for me. And after fasting and prayer, I decided it's time for me to do a live stream because it's a topic I want to address again because it's something that needs to be addressed. And I'm coming into it soon, but first I want to check if you all can hear me clearly. One moment. Let me check on my mobile phone. All right. Yeah, it's being charged. Hold on. Let me check if you all can hear me clearly. Hold on. Well, the live stream is playing clearly, as you can see. So, live stream clearly, as you can see. Okay. I'll check it on my smart TV over here so you guys can hear me clearly. Okay, that's good. Let's see, Maria is here, Mark is here. I'm glad you're all here. All the rest is here. Let's help you know your live chats too. Let me do a quick prayer over all of you. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, I command peace and safety and serenity in all and around all of you who are watching this. And I command in Christ's mighty name that this word that I'm speaking in this live stream takes root in your heart, grows into your soul, and transforms you after the image of Christ. Now in Christ's mighty name. Amen. Okay. I'm going to go right into the topic. Hold on, let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you all see the screen? Let me know in the live chat, please. I want to be sure. Can you all see the screen? Okay, Violet's here too. Okay, now let me go back here. Jimmy Savile. Sir James Wilson Vincent Savile. He passed away in 2011. He was a well-known media English media personality and DJ. He even had ties, they claim, to the British Royal House. So he was quite high-ranking. When he passed away, let me see if we go to the topic of his funeral. When he passed away, oh my God, there was a big funeral, man. I mean, they treated him like he was a prince or a king that passed away when he died. This guy was treated like a great hero by a lot of people. Now, as a matter of fact, let me just go to Google directly. Savile funeral. Look at this. When he passed away and there was a funeral, they carried him away in a. That seems like gold to me, guys. It could be they. It's not really gold, but missing, whatever. But it seems like gold to me. But gold or not, they had all parades for him. Look at all these cars, man. Wow. Normally, it's only after an emperor or a king or a president passes away or someone of high military rank they do things like this. I mean, this guy was beloved, man. He was. But soon people came to regret all these honors they credit onto him. Okay? Soon they began to regret all of that. Because, boy, oh boy. Oh, no. I don't want to see this. Let me go over it. That's where I need to go. There was a big sex abuse scandal surrounding this guy. That started way back in the day. And it's only after he passed away that all came out in the open. And this former police officer and investigative journalist, Mark Williams Thomas, was the one who pushed it onto the public. Okay? Now, this is a former police officer, and he became an investigative journalist. So he has knowledge and experience in detecting and exposing crime. Okay, now I want to read a little bit with you. We're not going to play the video. Let's read. The man who helped uncover Jimmy Savile's horrific crime says it was a huge personal gamble. Okay. Before he died, talk about Jimmy Savile, before he died in 2011, most people, while they had suspicions he was a bit weird, thought of the aged DJ simply as eccentric. His gold coffin was paraded through the streets of Leeds and Scarborough with the 85-year-old lying in state so fans could pay their respects. All the while, those survived his decades-long abuse watched in horror as the country mourned a monster. It was only once he died that his crimes were exposed, and those who suffered at his hands were listened to. Okay, so while he was still alive, as this celebrity DJ with all these renowned connections in the world, how come the victims not listened to him back then? Okay, speaking to Led Bible about how he managed to bring the truth to the light in a documentary with ITV, Mark said it was a huge personal gamble. Okay, let's read what he said. While I started investigating him in the early days, my mom phoned me up and said, Mark, do you really think you should be doing this? There was a big story in BBC Leeds. They had covered it and talked about me doing this program. And where was a phone in? I listened to the phone in, and people were being really horrible about me. I remember my mom saying, Mark, do you really want to take this on? And I've been incendiary device. I had an incendiary device sent to me. Somebody sent me an incendiary device, which was sent to myself at ITV in Birmingham, which is where all the post goes. And I remember getting a phone call one day saying, Mark, there's an incendiary device that's been sent to you. I remember thinking to myself, right, okay, what does it mean? And they got the police out there. They got the fire brigades, and they worked out that it was capable of causing quite significant damage. Mark said they've never found out who sent it or where it came from. But despite the clear message, he said he never let it put him off of anything. It spurred him to tell the story. Okay. Then he said he put our out lives into it. Okay. A year after the broadcast, over 500 people came forward with allegations of abuse. 500 people? Okay, okay, okay. That guy, Jamie Savile, who passed away, this predator had, okay, maybe some of those 500 people just want to get attention and they're just people who narcissists want to get attention. That can happen too, unfortunately. But they know if they come with false allegations, they could be arrested by the police. Nevertheless, the fact alone that hundreds of people came forth with abuse stories about this man, if just one or two people, if it was less than five people, we could debate and say, well, why didn't he come forward when he was still alive? Or why now that he passed away, do they just want attention? If it was less than five people, I could say, okay, you could dismiss it. But 500? Okay, and let's go over here. Let me. I'm not going to read all of this. Let's go over here. All right. Savile's autobiography, as it happened, so he wrote a book about himself in 1974, contains admissions of criminal behavior, apparently without Savile's self-incrimination being noticed. So this guy even revealed in one of his own autobiographies that that he wasn't innocent. Okay, let's read. He would joke to the press when they phoned him. She told me she was over 16. What? I'm sorry, but this is not funny. Listen, you can call me old-fashioned if you want, but pedophilia jokes, I'm not okay with those things. Absolutely not. Call me old-fashioned if you want, but I'm not old-fashioned. But if that makes me old-fashioned, then you know what? Just call me old-fashioned if you want then. But I'm not okay with it. Press investigation dating back to at least 1973 did not lead to the publication of any direct accusation being made against Seville, though rumors persisted and were intermittently mentioned in the print media for many years. So, 2011, the guy died. Okay. In 1973, okay, let's do a calculation very quickly. Okay. Let me go to my calculator to make sure I'm not making a mistake over here. Okay, let's go to my calculator. 2011 minus 1973. 38 years. So for at least 38 years, there were rumors and symptoms that this guy was molesting children. 38 years. A generation is 20 years. So for almost 4 decades, that's 2 generations, this guy went ahead. I mean, what? Okay, so let's go further. Seville claimed the key to his success on the BBC program, Jim Will Fix It, had been that he disliked children, although he later admitted to singing to the flag scrutiny of his private life. Listen, if you are not the individual that wants to mention a lot about what goes on in your life, just say, well, I don't really talk that much about my life. Just be direct about it. Why say you dislike children just to keep people off of you? I mean, no. And why did he later retract his statement? I mean, you know you're doing it in front of TV where millions of people are watching you. But okay, seems like he realized he admitted too much. But let's go further. He did not own a computer, as he claimed he didn't want people to think he was downloading child pornography. What? Hold on a minute. If you don't have a computer because you're a bit old-fashioned, you want to keep things the old school way, okay, it's a bit eccentric, but you have people like that. You have young people today who don't really want to do much with technology. Why mention something like this as a reason why you don't want people to think you're involved in this? I mean, if people say you're involved in that and there's no proof, then why even bring it up? What? In a 1990 interview for The Independence on Sunday, Lynn Barber asked Seville about rumors that he liked little girls. Seville said, the young girls in question don't gather around me because of me. It's because I know the people they love, the stars. I have no interest to them. Hold on. Oh, okay, okay. So let me get this straight. Someone is a toxic rumor, an encouraging rumor about you is mentioned, and you don't say, hey, that's not true. Where you get that from? I'm not into that. Come on now. He doesn't deny it. He kind of plays it off like, hey, if the girls come to me, it's not to do with me. They're coming to me. You deflecting the question. In 1995, Seville was the subject of a 45-minute interview by Andrew Neil for the TV series Is This Your Life? His personal life was the subject of Neil's close questioning, but Seville used a banana to avoid discussing it. In April 2000, Seville was the subject of a Louis Theroux documentary. In the When Louis Met series, in it, Theroux asked Seville about speculations he was a pedophile. Seville said, we live in a very funny world, and it's easier for me as a single man to say I don't like children because that puts a lot of salacious tabloid people off the hunt. How do they know whether I am bad or not? How does anyone know where I am? Nobody knows where I am or not. I know I'm not. Why am I gonna say no? Hell no. You hear me? This is they have a term for this in psychology. I forgot what the term was. Maybe some of you subscribers know it. This is when someone is downplaying their own involvement in something that they know they can't get away with, and then they come with a denial. Because this one you understand about the human mind. The human mind is not built for lying. Anytime you lie, you act against your own mental health. So your own mind will expose you at some point. So one way to ease the backfire on your own mind is by kind of trying to tell yourself that it wasn't that bad or it's not your fault or whatever. Now, are there people out there who do over explaining because they're afraid of being set up? That happens. And in the world, it tends to happen. People set you up. Being set up for something you didn't do happens in the world. And some people don't know how to deal with it and they over explain. But that's a different thing. But over explaining is not downplaying or diverting something that's a topic that's as serious as this. A folk documentary, Louis Theroux, Saville, about Theroux's inability to detect Saville's true nature, aired on BBC Two in 2016. Okay. Okay. I don't have to go on and on and on. What I'm saying is that 38 years? Are you guys kidding me? And why was the former police officer? Why was he threatened when he wanted to investigate this? Okay. Okay, let me go over here. Yeah. Why was he threatened with an explosive? Incendiary device or incendiary bombs are bombs. So the guy that wanted to investigate after the guy died got a bomb sent to him. Whoa! So people really didn't want this to come out. Even though there were over allegedly 500 or at least hundreds of victims. And again, people began to speak out. One of the victims spoke out. This what they claim to be one of the victims who later spoke out. Here, she said men were allowed to go around grabbing women, and nobody ever did anything about it. You can read this all by yourself. I'm not going to all of it right now, but okay. But then it came out that one of his sibling, was also not innocent when it came to the topic of sexual abuse. It was kind of a family thing, it appears. Strange that nobody noticed this when the guy was alive. You mean tell me all these famous people with high position in society didn't hear the rumors? Why would you want to hang out with someone who's rumored of something so horrible? Anyway, now I want to address another thing over here. Rotterdam is a place in Britain. Okay, let me just Rotterdam to show you where it is. Rotterdam is close to Sheffield. It's a small town over here in Britain. But okay. Here's where I am in the Netherlands, in The Hague. Let's go over here. The Rotterdam child sexual exploitation scandal consists of the organized child sexual abuse that occurred in the town Rotterdam South Yorkshire, Northern England from the late 1980s until 2013, and the failure of local authorities to act on reports of abuse throughout most of that period. Okay, hold on a minute. Maybe I need to read this one more time. It could be I misread something. It could be I'm reading something that ain't there because I'm psychologically horrified by the topic. Okay, just to be sure I'm not mistaking something and read things ain't there. Let's read one more time. You guys see the screen too. The Rotherham child sexual exploitation scandal consists of the organized child sexual abuse that occurred in the town of Rotherham, South Yorkshire, Northern England from the late 1980s until 2013, and the failure of local authorities to act on reports of the abuse throughout most of the period. So there were reports from the late 1980s till 2013, and the local authorities, which includes the police, uh, the county, the people didn't do anything about it. What? Okay, let's read further. Researcher Angie Hill, who was hired by local officials and warned them about child exploitation occurring between 2002 and 2007. This 5 years, 2002 2007, has since described it as the biggest child protection scandal in UK history. UK is an abbreviation for United Kingdom, by the way, for those who know. With one report estimating that 1,400 girls were abused by grooming gangs between 1997 and 2013. Evidence of the abuse was first noted in the early 1990s when care home managers investigated reports that children in their care were being picked up by taxi drivers. From at least 2001, multiple reports passed names of alleged perpetrators, several from one family to the police and the Rotherham Council. The first group conviction took place in 2010 when five British Pakistani men were convicted of sexual offenses against the girls aged 12-16. From January 2011, Andrew Norfolk of the Times pressed the issue, reporting in 2012 that the abuse in town was widespread and that the police and council had known about it for over 10 years. The Times, so it was a journalist that forced this to come out. So if he didn't force it to come out, it wouldn't have come out further. Just further. The Times articles, along with the 2012 trial of the Rochdale child sex abuse ring, prompted the House of Commons Home Affairs Committee to conduct hearings. Following this and further articles from Norfolk, Rotherham Council commissioned an independent inquiry led by Professor Alex J. In August 2014, the J report concluded that an estimate of 1,400 children had been sexually abused in Rotherham between 1997 and 2013, prominently by British Pakistani men. The victims were ethnically diverse, with British Asian girls in Rotherham also suffering, despite the claim that the victims were only white. Social isolation and fear of dishonor prevented Asian victims from coming forward. A care worker who worked at children's homes from 2003 to 2007 told BBC men would arrive almost every night to collect girls who escaped using a range of methods and were then usually driven off in taxis. The abuse included gang rape, forcing children to watch rape, douse them with petrol, and then threatening to set them on fire, threatening to rape their mothers and younger sisters, as well as trafficking them to other towns. There were pregnancies, one at age 12, pregnancy terminations, so abortions, miscarriages, babies raised by their mothers, in addition to babies removed, causing further trauma. The failure to address the abuse was attributed to a combination of factors revolving around race, class, religion, and gender, feared that the perpetrator's ethnicity would trigger allegations of racism, contemptuous and sexist attitudes towards mostly working class victims, lack of a child centered focus, so they didn't care about the children, a desire to protect the town's reputation, and lack of training and whoa. A lack of a child centered focus? You mean to tell me that since the late 1980s, there have been rumors, even reports, that something was off, and there was no focus on the well-being of the children in the town? Really? Lack of a child-centered focus? A desire to protect the town's reputation, while the town's reputation could have been protected if from the start they would have been interested in the well-being of the children and do something about it. Lack of training and resources. Don't call me that bullshit. Lack of training and resources. They do have resources, send the police to arrest you. If you don't pay your taxes or file your tax on time, they know how to arrest you. If you commit a crime, they know how to arrest you and put you in jail and to bring you before court. So there are resources, send the police to arrest you and if you drive too fast on the road, you get a ticket. So there are resources. They just didn't care enough to do something about it. Here, the Rotterdam Council Chief Executive is a rector of Children's Service as well as the Police and Crime Commissioner for South Yorkshire Police all resigned. They should be in jail. Okay. Here it says about reports concluded that the council had a bullying, sexist culture of covering up information and silencing whistleblowers. It was not fit for purpose. In February 2015, the government replaced the council's elected officers with a team of 5 commissioners. As a result of new police inquiries, 90 men and 2 women were convicted in 2016 and 2017 of sexual offenses in the town dating back to the late 1980s. One of the ringleaders was jailed for 35 years. 19 men and 2 women. So I don't want to hear people say it's a men thing because there are women also involved in this. And forget about their ethnicity because there were also European children molested too. And the majority of Britain is European of ethnicity. I say European, not white, because white is a colonial term related to color of law. So I'm not going to go into that right now. How come in a European majority country, European children are molested? And the European authorities of the European majority country are letting it happen. Wow. And this is just one of the child sexual exploitation scandals of Britain. There are many. Now, if you type into Google child abuse scandals, wow, you get a lot of stuff. Okay? You get a lot of stuff over here. What I'm saying is that this is a pattern you see in Follow Mankind. And it's not just related to sexual abuse of children, which shouldn't even exist to begin with. There are enough adults around for adults to go to for sexual intercourse. There is no need to go after undeveloped human beings who are not even capable to consent nor participate in sexual intercourse. What the heck is that? Here, mental health patients raped and sexually assaulted as NES abuse scandal revealed. What is also, yeah, this is Britain, I believe. NES is Britain. Mental health patients taken advantage of. 800 allegations of rape and sexual assault on women. Just 6 out of 50 hospitals were able to prove they were meeting any standards in protecting patients from sexual harm. 6 out of 50 hospitals? So that means that, hold on, 6 out of 50. That means that 44 hospitals did not meet the criteria of protecting their patients from sexual abuse. 500 reports since 2019? Less than 5% were reported to the police? Between 2019 and 2023, 19,899. You could say roughly heading towards 20,000 sexual incidents were reported across more than 30 NES trusts between 2019 and 2023. What? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Enough now. I mean, it gets clear now. How many of you in the live chat believe that people didn't know what was going on in these cases? This was just Britain we talked about now. We didn't talk about the United States yet. We didn't talk about Japan. We don't talk about Brazil yet. How many of you, in the cases I just shown you about Jamie Savile, also about the Rotherham thing, and also about in the healthcare in healthcare system of Britain, how many of you think that people didn't know what was going on? How many of you believe that? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the live chat. Do you believe that people didn't know what was going on? Do you believe that? Let me know in the live chat. A question for all of you. Do you believe that people didn't know what was going on? Hmm. Okay, I got two answers. Marcus says they know people in the world are selectively alert about things they want to be alert about. Maria says no. And Ninja Vax teach knew for sure. I'm glad all the answers now are proper answers. They knew. I'm an anthropologist and a sociologist. And let me explain distinction. Anthropology is qualitative research, I mean, that focus on the root philosophies of a population or a corporation that directs how people function in groups. That's anthropology. We go to the root of things. Sociology is when you investigate the group dynamics in society. For example, let's say you talk about Moroccan community in the Netherlands. An anthropologist will look at the reason why the Moroccan community even is in the Netherlands. What was the motivation for the migration? What's the motivation of this first, second, third, and fourth generation of Moroccans in the Netherlands? How they relate to all of that? That's what the anthropologist would do. A sociologist would look at, okay, you have the Moroccans in the Netherlands. How highly educated are they? Where do they live? What's their income? How this relate to other groups? So sociologists are more quantitative, focus on numbers with existing dynamics, while anthropologists go to the roots. Well, I am both an anthropologist and a sociologist. And let me tell you, from both an anthropological and sociological point of view, there is no way all of these crimes could have continued for so long without the public being involved in it. It is impossible. It doesn't exist. What I'm telling you now is the following: society, and also communities doing this, unfortunately, but society is a narcissist. Society is a narcissistic construct in which adults escape life collectively. If everyone escapes life their way, nothing will get done. People want to have roads that function. People want to be left alone. People want to have ease. People want things to work. But for things to work, people need to collaborate. So, out of necessity, people submit onto restrictions. They do the bare minimum, and they expect that with the bare minimum, everything works out. Does reality work like that? No. So, when the dysfunctions of society lead to problems, people get uncomfortable. Unrest develops, and when unrest develops, people get pissed off, upset, and now they want an outlet. And once they find an outlet, go off at the outlet. When the victim is killed or imprisoned or whatever, now they blew off steam, and the whole cycle begins over again. That is society, or what the Bible calls the world. So society is a narcissist. And just like individual narcissists don't want to admit wrong, if they admit wrong, they will not acknowledge the wrong. When you admit something, you recognize the fact of it. When you acknowledge something, you also recognize the consequences and your obligation to do something about the situation. For example, if you admit that you've overworked, You have to, if you don't admit it, you'll have a burnout. You end up in hospital. Admitting you're overworked is one thing. Acknowledging you're overworked means, okay, I've worked too much. I need to take some free days, or I need to get another job, or I need to go on welfare. I need to go get some medical help. So admitting and acknowledging. A lot of people admit things but don't acknowledge things. Okay, let's say you open your own barbershop. It's a fact you have your barbershop over there. And there are people who admit, oh, Jack has a barbershop. They may also admit Jack is a good barber. Despite the fact Jack is a quality barber that does a good job and doesn't even charge it much, a lot of people don't go to his barbershop. Why? Because they don't want to acknowledge its quality and its success. So they don't want to participate in it. Out of jealousy and envy, they admit him because they have no choice, but they will not acknowledge him. All right? So a lot of people may admit you, but doesn't mean they acknowledge you. And you can't acknowledge something without admitting it first. Okay? What I want to point out is that worldlings have the tendency to admit that things don't add up when they have no other option. Because if they have the option to deny things, they will. If worldlings have the option to deny things, they act like nothing goes on, they will. But often they cannot. So they will admit things, but they will not acknowledge that it's them as a people who need to do something about it. That requires responsibility, personal sacrifices, and also owning up to their own failures and deficiencies, and the failures of the deficiencies of those around them. These are things worldlings don't want to do. There's people. What's the difference between a drug addict or an alcoholic and the rest of the world? There is no difference. The only quote unquote difference is that alcoholic or drug addict, they seek the relief in alcohol and drugs, while the rest of the population will seek relief in, hard work. They may seek relief in relationship activity. They may seek the relief in gossip or whatever. Some it becomes so agitated to join the police force to catch the bad guys. It's one their way of seeking relief. Relief seeking, or what the Bible calls sin, is the horrible set condition of mankind. This is why mankind is fallen. We human beings can manage this set condition, but cannot overcome it by themselves. They need to be born again and serve the Heavenly Father. It's only by serving the Heavenly Father that we can be freed from sin. You cannot get rid of sin by yourself from inside of you. You outgrow sin by serving the Heavenly Father. That's how it goes. So all these teaching are usually about fight. Cannot overcome something uh, that you can't fix. We can't fix the sin condition of ourselves. We can only outgrow it with the power of God. And when Christ comes back, when we have new immortal bodies, we won't have any sin issue anymore, which is escapism. So mankind has a tendency to admit things in such a way so they don't have to acknowledge their role in what goes on. A lot of parents are hard on the children, but at least the children are not criminals. At least they respect the law, or at least they're well behaved to go to pay taxes, blah blah blah. Or you mean sometimes people, I hear people sometimes, I'm talking about adults, sometimes I hear adults say the most horrible and scary things. For example, you see on the internet, you see this a lot. Also in real life, people say, well, my parents hit me, they whooped my ass. And guess what? I ended up well. One woman even joked, oh, my parents beat me. But and the disorder I got is having respect. I thought, so what? Okay, I'm going to address one thing over here. I'm not an expert on raising children. Okay, I'm not. So don't come with that accusation like I'm pretending to. I'm not. One thing I do know, children, we all start as children. Okay, a child is a underdeveloped human being that still needs to grow and develop into an adult. So children can't think for themselves. Children cannot process things. That's why they need all these kinds of adults. So you can't be friends with children. You can be friendly towards children, but you can't be friends with a child because a child cannot handle friendship because they don't have the mental or emotional capacity for that. Okay? It doesn't mean that just because you can't be a friend with a child, that you have to be harsh and inconsiderate, like some parents do. But anyway, one thing I do know, you cannot ill-treat a human being and expect a human being to be comfortable with you afterwards. When someone mistreats you, even in a psychological way, it will have a psychological effect on you. It can even cause brain damage onto you because of the stress in you. Listen, if your husband is screaming at you, name calling you repeatedly, that stress he's causing you will lead to brain damage. That will cause other health problems for you. And don't you know that a husband can be arrested if he's emotionally abusing his wife? Also, other way around, a wife can be arrested too. Do you know even your employer at work can't just talk however he wants towards you? And you're an adult just like he is. So if grown people develop brain damage after being psychologically mistreated, how the heck you think children whose brains are still in development are going to be affected when adults who should know better by looking for help are offloading on them? Lord have mercy. Okay. If your employer at work would take off his belt, begin to, use his belt like a lasso, and he's hitting his belt on the table, hinting that if you guys don't talk a certain way towards him and you guys don't sweat and exhaust yourself at work, some of you may be whooped by that belt. Would you stay at that? Would you stay at a job if your employer appeared took off his belt and going to, you know, make movements with it, smack the belt on the table, hinting that the belt may hit some of you guys if you guys don't talk in a proper way towards him or don't work hard enough? Would you stay at that job? Let me know in the live chat. Would you stay at that job if employer behaved like that? Let me know right now. I want you to answer this. Would you stay at that job if your employer began to threaten with his belt? Okay. What if your employer, instead of a belt, took one of his shoes or one of his shoe wears and began to do things like this? Don't talk to me like that, young man. Young lady, you need to watch your mouth. Would you stay at that job? No, you wouldn't. If the police would hear about this, oh my God, that employer will be in handcuffs and he face charges. And the judge would tell them, sir, just because you paid their wages doesn't mean you have a right to psychologically and physically damage them. They're not your property. And mentally healthy people even damage their own property. So they're not property. And even if they were your property, nobody in the right mind would damage your own property. Sir, would you smack your phone on the table if the phone doesn't work? No, you wouldn't, because you would damage your phone. You wouldn't do things like that. So why do you think it's okay to threaten, to slap, or to physically injure your people that work for you? Man, either that employee would end up in a psych ward, or he would end up with a prison sentence with a criminal record. And afterwards, he will go bankrupt, rightfully so. So if, let's say, your wife was spanked by, I don't know, some other grown individual for not talking properly, You would be upset, or if it happened to your husband or whatever. What I'm saying is, if grown human beings don't tolerate other grown human beings to damage them because they don't give in, they don't pamper them. So a grown man or a grown woman doesn't feel pampered by you, so they now become a danger towards you psychologically and physically. We don't put up with that. So why would children have to put up with that? And why are there survivors of such abuse not owning up to the fact that they have been damaged by both the parents and the people around and the environment around them? Again, this is fallen mankind because it's too much for them to admit, hey, I was afraid when talking to the people around me because if I said something they didn't want to hear, or if I said the way they didn't like, uh, I would have been injured. I would have faced injury. And because I don't want to be injured, because I was afraid to be injured, I gave in to what they wanted. And that's how people are raised into this idea called profanity. Profanity simply means outside of the temple, speech that's not allowed inside the temple. In ancient times, you had temples where they worshipped their pagan gods, and in those temples, you were expected to speak in a ritual way to please the deities. Any speech that was not considered honorable to the deities was called um, vanitas, so profanity. So profanity simply means you don't give homage to the deities in a temple. So instead of literal deities in front of you in form of statues that you expect to bow down to and pay homage to, you're now told that there are certain words and styles you need to use during your speech because those are cuss words, those are swear words, that's profanity. Only people of low quality talk that way. It's horrible. And if you ever spoke that way, you'd be punished. You face retaliation. Now, instead of admitting that you're threatened and blackmailed into pampering people with your speech, you say, well, my parents and my teachers taught me respect, how to not use profanity, and because I give in to them threatening me, I'm a good person. So now you try to um, you attempt to justify them blackmailing you into not pampering them. Question: would they go off at a police officer, a judge, or anyone with a rank above them with ability to strike back if that individual, quote unquote, use profanity? Don't you know there are a lot of businessmen that use profanity? A, but because those businessmen pay their wages, that they need to pay rent, they keep their mouth shut. Why don't you ever tell them, hey, sir, don't use profanity like that, or don't talk like that, whatever? They wouldn't. When they come towards you, so let me get it straight. You have grown men and women who lack self-worth, and the way they compensate the lack of self-worth by controlling how you talk to them. Now, I understand you don't want people to psychologically abuse you and treat you like shit. I get that. But to go that far, that you want to control how people talk to you on your terms, that's narcissistic. If someone did that to you, you want to be okay with it. So why can't you do it towards others? Oh, you can't get away doing it towards others who can strike back. So you do it towards people who can't strike back. So instead of saying that the people around you lack self-worth, and because they were compensating by controlling you, and if you didn't allow them to control you, they would injure you. Instead of admitting how unstable the human beings around you were, and that you gave in for your own safety, you wanna paint colors, put on a gloss, glosses that everything was fine. No, I would just start respect. I would just do this, that. No, 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 no. Just admit what's going on. You were terrified. You were threatened. And if you would have been injured, the injuries could have lost for a lifetime, physically, psychologically. And because you didn't want to be injured, you gave in, you smooth talk people. Why don't you just admit that? If once you admit that, then you need to admit, oh my God, what type of people they have around me. And then you know, I mean, there are many people like that. I mean, oh my God. And because people don't want to admit this, they go on with the excuse. So let's say now you have a grown man who's a bus driver, and a man pays for his bus fee. He enters into the bus. And inside the bus, there's some women talking loud. And the man who entered the bus tells the women, man, ladies, stop. How to say, let me use a good example. Ladies, stop chit chatting like that. Shut up, this, that. The guy is a bit profane in how he says it. Okay. And the bus driver hears this. And the bus driver gets up saying, sir, don't use profanity on this bus or else I'm going to kick you off the bus. Even though the guy paid for the bus fare. Now, if the guy entered the bus and began to scream and shout and cause trouble, that'll be different. But the guy just used what they call profanity to tell the women don't talk that loud. Now, could he have said it in a different way? Yes. But to go off, to want to kick someone off the bus, a ride they paid for just because they don't hold on to the restriction you hold on to, come on now. And this is something fallen mankind often does. Because they don't want to own up to things, and they want to be left alone, they want to flee and escape, and be unbothered by the escape, people in the world cling onto restrictions. And now they want sympathy for the restrictions they were holding on to. Their parents had those restrictions, so they hold on those restrictions too. Or they were blackmailed, and for the survival they gave in. So now they don't want to admit they were blackmailed. So now they want to act like it was a good situation. Now they want to pass on that so-called good situation to others too. Fallen mankind holds on to restrictions. And now they project these restrictions onto others. And anytime people don't give in to those restrictions that they hold on to, they feel rejected. They get upset. So someone that says hi to a superior at work instead of good morning, people get, why you say hi? You don't know the man. No, 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 no. He greeted the superior. The superior think, hey, hi, back, no problem. But a lot of other employees think, who does he think he is? Addressing the CEO like their buddies, blah, blah, blah. The CEO was fine with, hey, thanks for greeting me. But the others thought, hey, they were raised by not only the parents, but the environment that if someone has a higher rank than you make more effort towards them. Why? Because if you don't make effort to someone who has leverage over you, they may feel rejected, and because they're unstable, use the leverage against you. You have a lot of adults out there who are not stable on the inside, and instead of owning up to this and admitting this and looking for help, they want to compensate by abuse and leverage over others. So because it's a common thing in the world, people are raised to, if someone has a rank, you talk to them in a different way with more effort. You see this in many languages, also in languages like Japanese and Korean. You have it a lot. In English, you even have a set of words you use. For example, instead of helping, say aiding. Instead of searching, say inquiring. You have all these different words to kind of make someone feel like you make an effort for them. While they're human beings just like you. Even the Heavenly Father doesn't require you to make all this effort and speech towards Him. Because even Heavenly Father would say, calm down, children, just talk to me directly. But now you have human beings who lack self-worth, who are not stable on the inside, who can't even guarantee they'll be alive tomorrow, who are needy, and will die one day. The sign that you need to make effort for them and how you speak to them, or else. What the heck? So now you have people, again, out of survival, they got along with that. If you get along with something out of survival, that's understandable. If you're in a shop and there are robbers entering in with guns saying, hey, everyone on the floor, you go on the floor. To argue with them means you may be shot. So you comply out of necessity for survival. That's understandable. But you're not going to afterwards say, well, the men over there were settling an argument in a creative way, so we just complied, held them out. You're not going to sugarcoat. You know it was a robbery, and you didn't want to be attacked or injured by the perpetrator, so you complied. But when it comes to how people were raised by the grandparents, parents, family, the neighborhood, all of that, People tend to make a lot of excuses instead of owning up to this was going on. Okay? Look, if you didn't have all the nice toys as a child, doesn't mean you were neglected. Okay? I'm not talking about people who are going too far to want sympathy for things that didn't actually happen. I'm talking about you need to be real about how you were raised, how you were shaped, how people around you are. Okay? So let's go back to the example I gave on to you. You come walk in, you say hi to the CEO. The CEO says hi back. We're perfectly fine. But your fellow colleagues begin to look angry at you, thinking, who do you think you are? Talking there like that to the CEO. Did you injure the CEO? Did you harm him? Or did you harm the workplace? No. But the thing is, they don't want to admit they were threatened into pampering the adults around them. So now that they're adults, they have the same toxic survival mechanism they're operating in. Well, that's on them. They should look into the mirror, own up to themselves, and look for help. That they don't do that, that's not your fault. But now they expect you to be trapped and restricted by their dysfunction. And because you don't do that, or you don't have any respect, you think you're something, you think you are, blah blah blah. That's how they work in the world. That's how they do it. So that's how worldlings are in general. Now there are exceptions. There are good quality people out there who are not believers, absolutely. But a lot of worldlings in general, also a lot of believers, unfortunately. That's how pathetic they are. They hold on to restrictions. Now, if you went along with the restriction out of survival, clear. That's understandable. Process it. But you're not going to cling on to restriction that doesn't add up and now act like nothing goes on. That's toxic. But that's how a lot of adults are. And they only look for people that validate the restrictions. People that don't validate restrictions, they either turn on them, dislike them, or act like they don't even exist. Now, why am I mentioning all of this? Because once you understand this about fallen mankind, you'll also understand that there's not much to them than this. Grown human beings who don't want to admit their own instability, they can only be fixed by serving Heavenly Father. Because they won't admit it, let alone acknowledge it, they now are coping by seeking compensation in controlling others. And that controlling will lead to stress and conflict, and then they want to take out the stress and conflict on others. That's all society is. Nothing more, nothing less. Now that you understand this, you also understand why the Heavenly Father told us in the New Testament not to be unequally yoked with unbelievers. And let me tell you one thing. The scandals I spoke about, a lot of them happen to children, some to adults. But people still let all this happen. When a scandal comes out, oh, I didn't know. Nobody knew anything. Nobody noticed anything. Everyone is so-called shocked. Yeah, right. Now, it can happen someone was not aware. I'm not saying because, for example, I don't know what the neighbors five houses further are doing. I don't know. It could be they're dealing drugs over there. I don't know. Okay. And when later the news comes, there was a drug pin over there. I don't know. Okay. I really didn't. So it can happen that you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. You can't know what goes on behind all the scenes. That's not even possible. Just know when there's iniquity in a community, the population in general is in on it. Simple as that. And let me tell you, just like in ancient times, there was this institution of pedophilia in ancient Greece and also ancient Rome that the public got along with for the financial profit's sake. Just like in these cases, a lot of the people look the other way. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be bothered. Leave me alone. And they let the children be harmed. I'm telling you. Hope I'm wrong. I really want to be proven wrong, and I really want to be proven wrong on this. But how it appears right now, it seems like more in the future, at least in the Western world, people are going to be more tolerant towards crimes against children, just so that they don't have to admit things and deal with things. especially now that the global dominance of the Western world is over, and what they call the global South or the former colonies and are rising up again. Now that these changes are happening in the world, now the West has to face the fact they neglected their families, that they neglected the family structure, they neglected the youth. But amid all these things, people don't want to do that. I'm telling you, people will get along with grown men and women harming children. Just if that means they can escape, be left alone, a lot of people will get along with it and make excuses for it. A lot of people make excuses to get along with things they know they shouldn't get along with just so they can escape. Look at what happened in 2020. Does anyone remember what happened in 2020? Does anyone remember what happened in 2021? Please remind me. Was there not some program that was for force worldwide that people were resisting all of that? I'm not going to mention directly here, though the community guidelines of YouTube, but what was going on in 2020 was 21. You guys remember? Remember how many people got along with that, knowing full well that it didn't add up? And later they turned on the people who didn't got along with it, turned on them, wishing harm and death on them also. Well, the same will happen with those weirdos, those creeps, those demon possessed reprobates who claim they have a right to come after your children. Yes, there are groups out there advocating coming after your children. They even sing about it in disgusting songs and all of that. They all should have been arrested and be in prison a long time ago. Why are they still on the streets? Why are they still online promoting these things? I'm telling you. I hope I'm wrong. Please prove me I'm wrong. I hope very soon big changes come up towards this. But as it appears now, years to come, you'll see more and more tolerance towards the exploitation of children in horrible ways. Because the public doesn't want to own up and deal with things and don't want to hold accountable. They want to keep escaping. Throughout human history, not only when it comes to children, throughout human history, our ancestors put up with a lot of things shouldn't put up with. Think about the transatlantic slave trade. Think about what happened in the Second World War with the Ashkenazi Jews. Think about what happened during a lot of independence wars of the former colonies. Think about what's going on in North America under French rule. A lot of those brothels that traffic teenagers from the Native Americans and all that. I mean, human beings throughout history have put up with a lot of bad stuff just so they could preserve their daily ease and escape. Human beings are not any different today. As a matter of fact, human beings today, though to the philosophies of the Western world, they even think they have the right to neglect their communities and to escape. So now you have generations of people alive today thinking they have the right and entitlement to escape and neglect the community and still demand the same community to work for them. I'm telling you, stay alert. And if you have young relatives, pray for them. Because I don't see this is going into a good direction. All right? So, what do we do about this as believers? We know what we're dealing with. We know the society will always play the victim when scandals are exposed. And we know that society doesn't have any limit how far society will go to shut the mouths of people who are calling things out. Society has no limit how far it will go to silence you and get rid of you when you call out the obvious. Now, we shouldn't go out there meshing problems all the time and causing conflict and disharmony. No. Sometimes we don't mention something, but we do something about it constructively. Nevertheless, it needs to be addressed. But if you can't even address something that's actually harmful and is proof in everyone's face is harmful, then you're dealing with the wrong crowd. Simple as that. So please stay in prayer, keep fasting, do all of that, walk by faith, keep your eyes open too. Because you even have some believers who are not delivered to operate like this. I don't want to hear it. Leave me alone. None of my business. Or just pray about it. Oh, no. We as human beings, we are responsible for the quality of the earth and quality of life on the earth. So we cannot afford to be dismissive and neglectful. We ought to be humble, to admit we're vulnerable creatures who need the guidance of Heavenly Father, then submit to the guidance of Heavenly Father, and then deal with the issues on earth through the guidance of the Heavenly Father. Simple as that. That's the solution. Anything else is just delayed bullshit. Simple as that. All right? And don't forget, society is willing to sacrifice you too anytime they can preserve their ease. Don't think that because you are a hard worker, you obey the laws of the land, and you're so-called a good person, that's going to be enough leverage to stop people from neglecting you or turning on you or setting you up. You need to either have um, some worldly leverage to shame and embarrass the public if they go too far towards you, or you need to be part of a militia or a gang or whatever just to take action against the public if they go too far, or the best way is to serve the Heavenly Father and use the power of God in you to deal with the masses anytime they go too far. And that's the last one's only protection that's actually worth it. If you have no leverage over the public whatsoever, you're in trouble. Simple as that. Okay. Are there any questions about this topic? Please let me know in the live chat, please. Thank you. Are there any questions about this topic? I know this is a heavy topic I discussed over here. However, I need to address it again. Fallen mankind has no limit how far they'll go in groups. An individual human being in the fallen state, they have restraints from society around them, from the community, from the institution. So they can go quite far, but they're restrained because they're just one individual. But groups of people in a fallen state have no limit how far they'll go to save face. I'm telling you. That includes most of your friends and family too, and the people you connect with at work. Okay? The people you meet in the streets, people you meet at the supermarket. Most of them have no limit how far they will go in groups just to escape, which also includes getting rid of you. Are they all narcissists and horrible people? No. They're all defective, however. They all have this escape thing. And because of that, they're not stable in the long run. If they would just admit they're not stable in the long run, admit it's not their fault, and admit that they have the solution to serve them with Father, it would all be over. The whole earth would be filled with believers, and it would transfer into a paradise. But as we know, worldlings, unfortunately, also a lot of believers who won't admit this. Are there any questions about this topic? Let me know in the live chat. I'll wait for one more minute. If I don't get any answers, I'll close down the live stream. Amen. Remember, I'm here to offer solutions. I'm here to give you instructions on how to deal with these things. But that's why I need to address them so you are aware what you're dealing with out there in real life. If you want to have a pep talk, make you feel good, to escape, you just go to one of those pagan churches. Go to one of those pagan churches, and those pagan pastors will suit your feelings, give you a boost for the week. You survive the week, but that's not happening over here. I'm here to actually instruct you on how to be fruitful and Christ-centered in this fallen satanic world. Okay? Okay, I didn't get any questions. Well, in that case, thank you all for being here. Again, hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel, donate in links below, check my novels on Amazon, and I'll see you all next time. Shalom.